Standard form of linear equations. The first thing I want to go over is what a linear equation is. A linear equation is one that can be written in standard form. Okay, standard form is another type of writing linear equations. So we've gone over slope-intercept form, where we have the slope and the y-intercept, the m and the b. And now we're going to have standard form, and standard form has a, b, and c. So standard form, okay, standard form of equations, and you want to write this down, standard form. The equation is ax plus by equals c. So we want to manipulate our linear equation so that the x and y are on the same side, and the c constant, that's the number that's by itself without a variable, that's over on the right by itself. But the two things that I need you to remember, so let's put these in red, or you might want to put a star or highlight them, are that the a, so this value right here, this a, must be positive, and a and b cannot both be 0. And the reason for that is, if a was 0, if a was 0, 0 times x would be 0. So that would cancel, right? So you would be left with the y. But now if b was also 0, 0 times y is 0, you would have 0 equals the constant, and that's either going to be, all real numbers or no solution. That's not going to work out to where we can graph it. You have to have an x or a y when you're graphing. So, one of these could be 0. B could be 0 but not A, or A but not B. But they cannot both be 0. You cannot have your x and y both cancel out in your equation. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few examples. The first example I'm going to go through is 2x plus 3y equals 6. So on this, I'm looking, okay, my two things that I said. So is A positive? Yes. Okay, the second one, A and B, sorry, that's a B, so let's do B and A cannot both equal 0. Is that true? Okay, here's A in front of X, B in front of Y. It's always that way. A is always the number in front of X, and B is always the number in front of Y. So are they both not 0? Yes. So this can be put in standard form. So we know this is a linear equation. So now all we need to figure out at this point are what are the A, B, and C. Well, it's kind of nice because we have AX plus BY equals C. There's not really a whole lot of manipulation that has to happen here. So I know that A is going to be 2, right there. B is going to be 3, right there. And my C is going to be 6. So that's all you have to do on that problem. It was already in order. So let's try a second example. So second example is negative x plus 4y, make sure you're writing all this down in your notebook, equals negative 8. Okay, now my two things. The first thing was A must be positive. Well, if we look here, what number is that? That's actually negative 1, right? Well, it can't be negative. So what I want to do is I want to either multiply everything by a negative or divide. I like to divide, so I'm just going to divide every term here by a negative 1. Okay, so now we have x, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so I have a positive 1x positive divided by negative is negative, so negative 4y equals negative and negative make a positive 8. Okay, so now my a value is positive 1. Okay, so this is like a 1x. And the second thing that we need to check, a and b are not both 0, so I have a 1 and a negative 4. So that's correct. So all I have to do now is write it down. So a is 1, b is negative 4, and remember it's going to take this sign that goes with it. And c is going to be 8. Okay, and now for the third example, I have negative 3y equals 2x minus 6. Okay, now this one's a little trickier because it's not in order. Okay, I have my y over here on the left, but my x is on the right. And remember, standard form needs to be ax plus by equals c. So my x and y both need to be on the same side, that left side. So this term's got to move. Remember, when we have an equal sign, the only way to move it is to make a 0 pair. So if I have 2x, I'm going to subtract 2x here, subtract 2x over here, so that this cancels. Put this in order. I want my x first. X always goes first. So negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 6. Okay, now, goodness, this is negative. So this a value needs to be positive. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on example 2. I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. So that's going to leave me with a positive 2x, a positive 3y equals a positive 6. Okay, so now the a value is positive. I have x and y on the same side, my constant on the right, and my a and b values are, I have values for both of them, so they're both not 0. So now I'm just going to write my a, b, and my c. So my a is now 2, b is 3, and c is 6. So that's all you have to do on these. So standard form, you just need to remember, is ax plus by equals c. A cannot be negative. B and c cannot both be 0. And once you get them put in order, you're just going to write this down here, this a, b, and c, because we're going to use that later.